Hey y'all, today we're going to look at the seedlings. Finally go ahead and pull the sweet potatoes and catch up on the mini greenhouse project. So let's get started. The guy on his dirt bike. Hey y'all, are you kidding me? I shared a picture on my Instagram of these plants where my dragon tongue beans are making beans, as you can see there, but that the leaves are all yellow. So I googled what might be the problem, and I did put some compost tea that I made from rabbit pellets, because from what I found, it could be that it just needed to be fertilized, but also it could be a virus or a bacteria. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that there is something in the ground, or if they said it could have been also something in the bean seeds themselves. It's really sad that as young as the plant is, it would already be overcome by disease. I'm just hoping the plant will last long enough that the beans can develop their seeds on the inside and I can save them to maybe try again next year. Hopefully that's not a bad idea if it was the seeds that came already having a virus in them. So another sad development, I'm not sure how well you can see this, is my squash plants have been destroyed. Something has just absolutely eaten all the leaves, and they look really sad. So I'm afraid, even though the weather is nice for them to have been able to develop without a lot of stress, something else is stressing them out big time. I'm not sure if I should pull them. Actually, I think there's a few I'm definitely going to pull, so that hopefully maybe the other ones will still have time to make it. Checking in on some of our seedlings. I can see that a couple of seedlings I transplanted have actually pulled through. Look, there's a cabbage right there that seems to be going to pull through. I see a lot of weed seeds, but maybe it's going to be all right. This is some kohlrabi. It's looking healthier. I'm really getting excited about the things that are coming up. And I added some wires because there were some places where the row cover cloth was drooping, and I realized I had just not been generous enough with how many wires I was putting into the ground. Once these seedlings get more established, I'll start thinning them. We can eat them as microgreens, or I'm going to potentially, I think, transplant them into bare spots and just see how much of I can grow of anything for this fall. I am the most excited to see all of these carrot seedlings that are coming up. I really did not expect that I was going to do it properly, that I kept them covered long enough or they were moist enough, but they seem like they're pretty happy. And again, that's something that I'll thin them as they crowd each other out so that the carrots can grow bigger. Same thing with these beets. I'm so excited. And then I could probably go ahead and start thinning some of these radishes because they are growing like gangbusters. Okay, so what happened was, last time I talked about the sweet potatoes, I pulled up one plant and there was one sad little potato, and I was like, well, maybe they haven't been in the ground as long as I thought they were. So I checked my journal where I had not recorded the day I planted them. Thankfully, I keep things on my calendar on my phone, and I was able to see that I planted them like 150 days ago. So, long overdue to go ahead and pull them up. So I went ahead and pulled up what I could find from the 3 or 4 little slips I'd planted, and this looks kind of like a sad little harvest. I did break a couple, but I'm not going to be disappointed, because if I hadn't planted any, then I wouldn't even have this many sweet potatoes. So I think maybe because I was using slips from potatoes that came from last year, that they just weren't as hardy as had I gotten some fresh slips. So I'm considering maybe in the spring I'll buy some slips or try some different varieties. And the other thing is, because I had them here in this raised bed, they just took over and tangled themselves up with all my other plants. So I'm looking forward to being able to give them their own space next year, to try to let them just ramble as much as they want. And then here is the pile, I don't know if you can see that, the pile of leaves and vines. I want to try to salvage the leaves that look nice and green and healthy and see if I can cook them. I will put a link in the description to a video where I saw someone use them to make like a stir fry, and I think I want to give that a try today and see if I can salvage one meal out of the sweet potato leaves. But I'm also going to show you what I discovered in my other plants when I pulled out these sweet potatoes, because the vines were covering so much stuff. So looking at this end, I have some lettuce left over from this past spring that seemed to be thriving underneath the shade of the sweet potato vine. But also I see that some beans and things that I planted on this arch didn't do as well as I thought. They were not coming up, so hopefully I have time to try and plant some more. The same thing right here. This whole area was some beans, some wax beans that I wanted to try to grow, and I see that only 1 or 2 plants is coming up. Let me see if I can show you this butterfly. You see it? And down here I see, it looks like whenever I pulled the elephant garlic that had been here, there must have been some corms left in the ground, and they have come up. So that's exciting, because I haven't seen the corms that I planted sprout yet, and I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I took care of them properly for them to sprout, because you can plant the corms they look like tiny little cloves hanging on the roots of your garlic. You can plant them, but then it takes 2 years for them to make bulbs and be nice and big and like your standard garlic. So anyway, that was exciting to find, and I wouldn't have noticed that otherwise. And then I found over on this arch, I have one cucamelon that is growing really well. So I hope it has time to give me some little tiny cucumbers, because I would love to taste them. This was my first year trying to grow them. The beans over here and the asparagus seem to be okay, even though I ripped all the sweet potato vines out. I have to find out what I need to do. You okay? I have to find out if I'm supposed to cut back the asparagus for the fall, or just let it die back. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to do with it, because I planted it from seed, and I intend to move the roots over to their permanent bed next spring. So I need to find out what I'm supposed to do with those. Let me know if you know. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this space, but I'm thinking that this will be where I put extra kales and things like that if my seedlings over in the other bed are doing well, and I can thin them out and transplant more over here. I'm not crazy about the idea of trying to keep them covered over here. My PVC pipe arches were not very user-friendly, and I'm just not sure. So maybe I might move them over here and then, wish them the best of luck and leave them exposed, so they might get eaten by animals or by bugs, or they might get damaged once we get a freeze, or the cats might use this as a litter box and destroy them that way. But either way, I'm not sure now what I'm going to do with this open space that obviously I still need to keep pulling some of the grass out. I'm going to let these sweet potatoes cure. They like warmth and humidity for a bit before you bring them inside to store them. I will use the ones that I broke really quickly, because they won't make it through a long-term storage. I've got a little compost tea going here. I don't have a proper setup to keep it aerated, so I only let it sit for a day or so before I strain it and use it, so that the mosquitoes don't get a chance to make a home in it, and so that it's still good because it needs to be aerated for all the good microbiome. And here are my seedlings from my little micro greenhouse project. You can see I moved them out of the greenhouse. It is still getting way too hot in the greenhouse. It was like 95 to 100 degrees in the greenhouse most days, so I went ahead and moved them here to a little shelf on the porch. They get afternoon sun right now, and I've just been rotating them, but they are doing great. You can see I had some really good germination. Some of the ones that didn't have a lot of good germination, I really should have paid attention to where the seeds were from so that I could see if the seeds were from the ones I'd collected or if they were old or something like that. But anyway, that is still pretty fantastic, and I think this might be where I get transplants that I can put out in that raised bed, now that I think about it, because there are a lot of little seedlings in here, and if they continue to grow well, they're going to need some space. So I think that that is a great plan, and hopefully I won't forget that that's the plan. So there's my project going on for now. Look at the blooms from this roselle plant. They are covering this whole plant. I'm really looking forward to getting a lot of calyxes off of this plant and sharing with y'all what I will be doing with them this fall. Hey Pearl. See y'all next time. Bye.